Hi, this is Edward Smith, video game correspondent for International Business Times UK. I've been invited this afternoon to Mayfair to the Sony Summer Showcase. I'm going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 4 itself, as well as trying out 4 of its launch games: Drive Club, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack and Infamous Second Son. So first, a quick word about the PlayStation 4 controller, which got a lot of stage time during the PlayStation 4's launch event in February. It's very light and it feels good in your hand. The R2 buttons are smaller, and of course there's a touch-sensitive pad in the centre of the controller. The games that we played today, not a lot of integration was given to that touchpad, except for in Killzone Shadowfall, where the touchpad was used to cycle through special abilities that you could use. Honestly, it felt a little bit fiddly, it felt a little bit superfluous. It reminded me of the 6-axis on the PlayStation 3, sort of semi-motion sensitive feature that they had in the controller, which never really featured into many games and didn't really feel integrated, it felt perfunctory. Speaking about the PlayStation 4 hardware, certainly in terms of graphics, this is a step forward from the PlayStation 3. There's a quote that gets bandied around, I think, at the start of every console generation, which is, it's like the cutscenes from the previous generation, except now you can play them. That certainly feels true with the PlayStation 4, especially playing games like Killzone and Infamous. Although the graphical step-up isn't immediately obvious, when things start to happen like destruction of buildings, explosions, or when several characters appear on screen at once, you can really see the new hardware shine through. Nevertheless, it doesn't quite feel like the enormous step forward that we got from the PlayStation 2 to the PlayStation 3. It feels much more like an optimization. It looks as if it's graphics that would certainly be available on very high-end PCs already. A few words about the launch games themselves. A lot of them are, to be honest, quite familiar. I think this has been said quite a lot by other writers and certainly by myself in the past, but Killzone, Drive Club, Knack, they all feel like very, very used games. Knack is a platformer, Killzone is a first-person shooter, Drive Club is a racing game. These aren't brand new experiences, despite what we've been hearing from a lot of Sony PR and advertising and marketing. These aren't very different. These games are all fine, they're all perfectly functional, they're all perfectly enjoyable, at least as much as similar games were on the PlayStation 3, but there's not really that wow factor, there's not really that big kind of launch game that's going to get everybody excited for the PlayStation 4, at least not me. Then again, it does tend to follow that the most exciting games on a console come further on, once developers have got the hang of the hardware and kind of know what they can and can't do with it. Regardless, PlayStation 4 is an interesting prospect, it's an interesting next generation console. It just needs more games to be wheeled out and put at the front that are exciting. That just isn't happening right now. So that's what I think of the PlayStation 4 so far. I didn't get an enormous amount of time to play with it today, but from what I've seen, the technology is certainly there, but the games lineup is still a little uninspiring. Nevertheless, it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up against Microsoft's Xbox One when both consoles launch later this year. Until then, I'm video game correspondent Edward Smith, and thank you for watching.